Hello, friends. Welcome back. Um, this is the second part of LRT review. So, I was telling you about the literature synthesis part. So, in this literature synthesis part, right, we have two steps again: descriptive analysis of the results and the literature classification. So, descriptive statistics speaks more about this section describes about across years, countries on databases or subject areas, how many number of papers have been published, what was the year, in which area, which year, how many number of papers are have been published, in which journal published highest number of publications. Such kind of a data is being described under the descriptive analysis of results. And the next part is literature classification. Both both these steps are considered to be the part of literature synthesis, where you are looking into the literature and trying to identify a pattern, trend, or classifying the available methods. So all these, both the steps I'm trying to show with an examples now. This is with respect to the first paper, a systematic review of intelligent tutorial system based on gross body movement detected using computer vision. This is an SLR paper. As you can see in this paper, they formulated a research questions here, right? So based on these research questions, right, so they've carried out SLR. Look at this SLR. So initially they started with the, when they have used the appropriate keywords, they were able to identify 1708 records were found. And through other resources, they were able to identify 21. So after duplicates removal, so you can see like 1562 were included. So you can see here identification, screening, and eligibility and inclusion. So later in the template itself, they together call it as screening and eligibility together, they call it as screening. So after applying inclusion and exclusion criteria, this number 1562 got reduced to 409, and they were able to exclude 363. In some of the papers, they mention like what were the reasons for exclusion also. Then, number of papers accessed for eligibility. That means after they read few of the abstracts and they found like based on the title or based on the abstracts, they found like were only 46 papers uh, out of 409 were eligible, right? And for the qualitative synthesis methods, so they have included only 33 papers. As you can see, like this 1708 got reduced to 33. And the exclusion criteria and inclusion criteria are also mentioned here. You can see now inclusion criteria was from 2010 to May 2022, right? So, and articles that are published and fully available on databases. And they have included journal papers, conferences, book chapters as inclusion criteria, and articles that used gross body movements and computer vision as a technique were included as a inclusion criteria. Look at their exclusion criteria. Non-English articles, just conceptual paper, no implementation, they have excluded it. Poster presentations and abstract submissions, where there are no full papers. Earlier versions of the considered abstracts, say example, the same author, same team has published one version of the paper and its updated version has been published as a next paper. So they've considered only the latest version. Then, so with respect to specifically to the topic also, they have considered some criteria, and those articles which are not available in full version, that's what, only abstracts are available, right? These were the inclusion and exclusion criterias. So once they were able to do this, okay, and look at the descriptive analytics. So they have said like number of publications, okay, the blue color indicates the conference papers and red indicates the journal papers. As you can see, like a clear trend, till 2017, there were only few conference papers. Later, journal papers started coming up, and 22 we have maximum number of publications in journals. Since the area might be very new, so initially the people pitch in through the conferences, and later the paper gets published in the journals. This is one descriptive way of analyzing your literature survey. The second one is based on the domain. Say the gross body movements, how they have used in yoga applications, exercise application, dance applications, sports, journal, healthcare, and musical instruments. So blue indicates conference papers and red indicates journal papers. This is another way of classifying the descriptive analytics methods. And I'll go to the quickly to the second section of the literature synthesis part, which is a literature classification. This phase of literature synthesis, it includes trying to identify a pattern, trend, or classifying the available methods. This can be one of the important contribution, right? So I'll show you one way which I had done in my paper. Say you can look at this diagram where, so technology enabled the data sources. Okay, how they are classified? I have some data with respect to classroom environment, some with respect to online environment. Okay, so sorry, we'll look into the research questions, right? So how technology enabled data sources are capturing the latent learning indicators of the student. Like this, I had written 4 research questions and I had carried out a SLR. Look at this. I had used 7 databases and 219 papers were there. And after screening, I got 201. That means I have taken out the duplicates. Then whatever was available for eligibility, I got 122 papers. Then, based on reading the abstract and a few of the sections of the paper, I was able to include only 36 in my SLR study. Okay, as you can see, like in both the papers, they've reduced from in the previous paper we saw like in 1900s to they have come up with the 40 papers like this. So you have the SLR process, followed with the second phase, which is nothing but a literature classification. This is how I have classified. After reading so many papers, so I have classified like, so in the formal learning settings, I was able to the papers which describe about the behavioral characteristic of a student, right? And in the informal learning settings is maybe like online classroom or blended learning classroom, how different characteristics were captured, right? Behavioral characteristics were classified, cognitive characteristics were captured, and affective characteristics were classified. So, how did I get this? How did I generate this figure? After reading several papers, those 36 papers, I was able to categorize this and come up with my own way of classifying my literature, right? So, appropriately, the references will be provided. Right. So another types of descriptive is, say, example, you have different types of analytics, right? If you go through this descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive, prescriptive analytics. So many number of papers were included in particular kinds of analytics. Say, example, unimodal studies, people, there were only 28 papers and multimodal, there were 8 papers. Together, it is 36 papers, right? So like this, you can synthesize a result through either literature classification method or through the descriptive analytics or both. So as I showed you in the first paper, we had done both descriptive analytics methods as well as literature synthesis, literature classification. Okay, so both will add value, and ultimately, what is your end result is we should be able to clearly mention the breadth of research and say like what is a trend, what are the methods that have been used. Another way to represent your synthesis is in the form of like what is a construct. Example, in the same study in the paper 2, I was trying to understand like what is being captured to say whether the student has learned, whether in the classroom or in the online class. Right? I said like people have observed eye movements, EEG was captured. What were the hardware and software that they have used, and what were the features that they have considered to capture this attention. So this in turn helped my PhD in such a way that I was able to identify the constructs and the features that I need to be extracting to carry out my research. So like this, so you can synthesize your results in such a way that you should be able to represent the consolidated or comprehensive learning from all those papers. So this is how I have written. Say example, I spoke about even the data set availability, right? So various data sets are available. What are its features? Okay, what is that feature that have captured and what is the available link. This in turn not only helps me, but also the novice researcher who enter into this field by just reading this paper will get to know like, so what all happened in last 1 decade. So this way, literature survey, I mean systematic literature review has very advantages. So to begin with any research, so if you find some SLR paper, please do not miss out. Read such papers so that you will very quickly understand the breadth of the research. Hope this template will help you and handhold you to do the descriptive analytics and literature classification and complete your SLR paper. And the last section is drawing the inferences and conclusion. I will take up this in the next video. See you in the next video. Thank you.